गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय जगन्नाथाय जय बलदेवाय सुभद्रमाय जय सुदर्शनाय जय गौरांगी बेंगलोरेश्वर गौरांगी जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय वामन देव जय वामन देव जय वामन देव जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव। नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. Welcome to today's session on Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today we are going to discuss on chapter from Canto 4 and creation of the fourth order, and chapter 9, Dhruv Maharaj returns home. Actually, he has already offered his prayers and Lord spoke to him. Now he has returned, and on the way is like thinking so many things, and that's the context. And today we will discuss on verse 32. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Let's start the recitation. मतिर्विदूषिता देवै कतद्भेर असहिष्णुभिः यो नारद वचस्तथ्यं नाग्राहिषम् असत्तमः मतिर्विदूषिता देवै कतद्भेर असहिष्णुभिः यो नारद वचस्तथ्यं नाग्राहिषम् असत्तमः मतिर्विदूषिता देवैः असहिष्णुभिः मतिर्विदूषिता देवैः पतद्भिरसहिष्णुभिः यो नारद वचस्तथ्यं नाग्राहिषम् असत्तमः. Word by word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Shila Abhay Charana Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Word by word, Mati, intelligence, Vidushita, contaminated, Devai, by the demigods, Patadbhi, who will fall down, Asahishnubhi, intolerant, Yah, I, who, Narada, of the great sage Narada, Vacha, of the instructions, Tathyam, the truth, No, not, Agrahisham, could accept, Asat Tamaha, the most wretched. Translation. Since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of sage Narada. Purport. As shown by many instances in the Vedic literature, when a person undergoes severe austerities, the demigods become very much perturbed because they are always afraid of losing their posts as the predominating deities of the heavenly planets. It is known to them that their position in the higher planetary system is impermanent, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, Kshine Punya Martilokang Vishanti. Yeah? 9th chapter, verse 21st, right? Tetang bhuktva swargalokang vishalang Kshine Punya Martilokang Vishanti. Evam Trayi Dharmang Anuprapanna Gata Kama Kama Labhante. It is said in the Gita, actually, it might be helpful if we directly look at that verse, just the translation recap, right? 1 second. Because on these occasions, if we revise a bit, 21. Yeah, this one. Let's see the translation. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Yeah. So this is what we referred. Yeah. Here. So now it is said in the Gita. Yeah, this we actually covered. Yeah. It is a fact that the demigods control the different activities of the limbs of our bodies. Even in third canto, if we might remember, the 6th chapter where Virat Rupa is universal form is elaborated in quite detail. It's mentioned that when the nose appeared in the body of Virat Rupa, Aswini Kumaras, they entered. Then because of that, we develop, like all living entities have developed the sense of smell. Like we are able to smell because of Aswini Kumara's empowerment, or because of his controlling this sense of smell. Similarly, it is mentioned that various limbs, right, that is controlled by different demigods, right? So as far as I remember, like Indra controls the hand or full arms, right, like this. So there are various limbs controlled by different demigods. At the same time, okay, we will come to that. Let's complete the purport as it is whole. Yeah, everything is controlled by them. Actually, we are not free even in moving our eyelids. Yeah, everything is controlled by them. Them means demigods. Dhruva Maharaj's conclusion is that these demigods, being envious of his superior position in devotional service, conspired against him to pollute his intelligence. And thus, although he was the disciple of a great Vaishnava, Narada Muni, he could not accept Narada's valid instructions. Yeah. Now Dhruva Maharaj regretted very much that he had neglected these instructions. Narada Muni had asked him, "Why should you bother about insult or adoration from your stepmother?" He, of course, said to Dhruva Maharaj that since Dhruva was only a child, what did he have to do with such insult or adoration? But Dhruva Maharaj was determined to achieve the benediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, Narada advised him to go back home for the time being. And in the mature time, he could try to practice devotional service. Dhruva Maharaj regretted that he had rejected the advice of Narada Muni and was adamant in asking him for something perishable. By the way, this advice is like not referring to Narad Muni's advice to Dhruva to return home. It is rather before departing, Narad Muni had actually told Dhruva that yes, you go and worship Lord Vishnu, but don't do this with material motivation. So Narad, so it is referring to that advice, not of returning home and coming later. Even though it follows those lines here, but yeah. So Dhruv Maharaj regretted that. Okay. That he had rejected the advice of Narada Muni and was adamant in asking him for something perishable, namely revenge against his stepmother for her insult and possession of the kingdom of his father. Dhruv Maharaj regretted very much that he could not take seriously the instruction of his spiritual master and that his consciousness was therefore contaminated. Still, the Lord is so merciful that due to Dhruva's execution of devotional service, he offered Dhruva the ultimate Vaishnava goal. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादां सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Such a nice contemplation, by Dhruv Maharaj while, after meeting with the Lord. So that's the key point. After meeting the Lord, right? So before that, he had this desire of, acquiring a kingdom which is even more opulent than his great grandfather, like more opulent than Brahma's kingdom, So Lord mentioned earlier that even though it is childish or very difficult, Durasadam, but still I will fulfill, because Krishna, Lord Vishnu, or Lord was very much pleased by his sincerity. That is the first point I want to, convey today from this sloka, that despite his, basically motivated devotional service, despite that, Lord took only the positive side, positive aspect of Dhruv Maharaj's austerity, that he was fully determined to obtain Lord Vishnu, right? That is one. And he was, so his determination was there even before he met Narad Muni, right? So seeing his determination, Narad Muni was also pleased. And same determination, strongest determination that helped him realize Lord, right? Lord Vishnu came personally to see him, right? And another thing is, when Narad Muni suggested, go to Madhuvan and worship Lord in this way, right? Chant the Mahamantra, 12 syllable Mahamantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So he actually, at most sincerely, he followed that process. He forgot even eating and sleeping and all that. So that is he is a perfect example of Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, in a positive sense. Of course, Hiranyakashipu also performed tapasya, but when we talk about positive thing, right, as it is mentioned in Bhakti Rasamaya Sindhu, right? So positive, positively inclined to Lord, that is like what is counted as bhakti. So Dhruv Maharaj is a good example of, or perfect example of Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. That is the first thing. Lord saw how sincere and how strict, or how determined he is to obtain Krishna and to follow on the Basically, Guru Mukha Padma Vaka Chitte Te Karya Ekyam. That is a perfect example, but perfect, almost perfect, because Narad Muni, while departing, he mentioned that don't do motivated, do unmotivated devotional service. But Narad Muni also understood that at that point of time, Dhruva will not listen to him, like that aspect, right? So that's a slight, the tinge of material desire was there. So that is one first thing which actually, like Tivrana Bhakti Yogena, that actually, even if we are not, free from all sorts of material desire right now, like for example, I am not completely, definitely in the modes of nature, yeah, for example. So if someone is completely free from self enjoyment tendency, naturally very soon, and he or she is concerned only with how to please Krishna, Guru and Krishna, Guru Gauranga, very soon they will actually, rise above the modes of nature. That's there. So because of our tendency to enjoy matter or material world, that is how, or that is when the three modes of nature affect us. So that's the one key thing, right? Then we will see some other things. Yeah, everything is controlled by them, demigods. Yeah, but this is not like something like demigods are forcing Dhruva to think of materially. So let's get into detail about this aspect, which is key to today's sloka, right? So see, we might have heard that, when someone performs very severe tapasya, very severe austerity, for any higher destination, then demigods become perturbed. But that, if we basically observe that in little more detail, we will see the distinction. So if someone's goal is material desire, material, like obtaining more and more, higher and higher material position, like heavenly planets and even higher, right? Something more enjoyable, then demigods get perturbed. But Narada is instructing Dhruva to actually not seek the material benediction, but pure devotional service. Narada is basically advocating pure devotional service. So it is not in demigod's interest that Dhruva is clinging to, stubbornly clinging to his material goal. So it is directly opposite of what Dhruva is saying. So if Dhruva had gone for pure devotional service, demigods would have been happy. They would not have been concerned, right? Because they were talking. So if it is well known to demigods that he is not interested in any higher material position, then and go for pure devotional service, then demigods will not be disturbed or perturbed. It is other way around. Like Dhruva is saying that they actually did not want me to perform pure devotional service, which is against the all the precedents of demigods. It's just opposite way. If Dhruva actually goes for material, motivated devotional service, then demigods will be perturbed. But then he was not disturbed by anyone, right? So it is like what he is saying is completely against the philosophy. Demigods disturb you when you seek heavenly planet. Like Prithu Maharaj case also, even though he was not aiming for rule of heavenly kingdom, but just because he was performing 100 Somedha Yajna, so Indra personally stole his horse, right, in the last 100th sacrifice, and several other things, several other occasions. Yeah, Indra has done that. So if Prithu Maharaj, even though he was not concerned, Prithu Maharaj is not concerned with material or heavenly pleasures or heavenly kingdom. He himself is like Shaktavesh avatar. But in that scenario also, Indra was not, tension free. So what Dhruva says is not valid. And later on, we will see he has accepted that, next slokas, but that's a topic of next sloka. Yeah. So that is one. And everything is controlled by demigods. Yes, it is there. They are deputed by Krishna. They are deputed on the order of Lord to control different senses. But it is for karmis. It is not for devotees. Okay. So that is another thing. So actually, they all perform their duties, based on the direction of Paramatma, based on the direction of Lord, actually. Yeah. As Krishna says, Lord Kapila Dev says, Mad bhayad vati vatoyam, suryas tapati mad bhayad, varsati indro dahati agnir, mrityus charati mad bhayad. All demigods are functioning in their role because of the, not fear, fear is the literal translation, but because of the strict and, unsurpassable command of Lord Vishnu. Yeah, like that cannot be overcome. Krishna's, is called Akuntha Medhase. Anyway, so his desires are never unfulfilled. So whatever his strong, like, strict, clear instructions are there, demigods are basically elevated souls, and they have this creative impetus, or, this kind of tendency to manage something, So that is not fully pure. They are great devotees of the Lord, but they have this tinge of, some controlling tendency. Yeah, that's why they are called, in one way, Iswara or demigods. Like, they also have controlling power. So they are great devotees, and they are very pious souls, and they are eligible to function as a management of universal affair. That's why Krishna gives them that. Yeah, so they are actually sitting on different limbs, or they are controlling different limbs of every living entity. But question arises: are they sadistic, that they prevented, or they want to prevent Dhruv Maharaj or any living entity or human being to perform any good thing? No, it's not like that. Demigods don't encourage one to go and kill someone, right? It's not like, that's a different matter. But at high level, they don't directly control our free will. The question is, how are they controlling? That is like, we have to understand properly. It's like based on our mode of nature, right? And based on our previous karma, right? So Paramatma inspires, actually, for a normal karmi I'm talking about here, for a normal karmi. So Paramatma inspires at right moment, that you actually go and do this, like that. So they are actually, that's all such human beings, because law of karma is not applied in the animal body or any subspecies than, like, lower species than human being, right? So karma applies only to human beings, and like that. So Paramatma, as it is mentioned, Updrashta Anumantacha, right? So actually, one is destined to suffer something, then they will commit that kind of thing, or they will do something like that, which will actually make them go through suffering or enjoyment, right? So that is the role of Paramatma. And demigods also actually induce this action of senses based on actually previous action, based on karma. So it's not that they are, whimsically controlling anyone's senses. And for devotees, we might remember from Bhagavad Gita itself, in first chapter itself, Lord is addressed as Hrishikesh. So actually, Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna actually controls, the devotees in terms of their surrender. If someone is fully surrendered, Krishna will control. Control means direct, direct all their senses to full degree. That they are always, achieving, like Sumangal and all that. Yeah? Always positive things, like the genuine, happiness or genuine destination for the soul, which is performing Lord's pure devotional service, or be Krishna conscious. So that is for pure devotees. For normal karmis, based on our karmic effect, actually demigods control us. For example, someone is, because of the bad karma, someone is basically destined to suffer paralysis. So demigods stop the action, of those senses, and then it is called medically as paralysis, and then blood is going and all that, even if the doctors, revive the blood circulation or other things, but the paralysis may not be cured, right? So medically, people may not believe on it, but that's the thing. Controlling demigods, they actually take action based on our karma. But for pure devotees, it's a different thing. For pure devotees, if they face any such physical, bodily adversity, that is for their glorification. That despite being in this condition, that pure devotee has not stopped his or her pure devotional service. So that is for their glorification. For practicing sadhakas and karmis, anyway, they are purely getting the reaction of their sins or negative karma. But for even practicing sadhaka, if something happens like this, that is for their purification. For pure devotee, it is for glorification. This point now we have actually cleared. Karmis, sadhakas, and pure devotees, right? So, Dhruv Maharaj conclusion, envious. Yeah, means they are not free from envy or jealousy, but that is like, as we discussed, demigods would have been happy if Dhruva had followed the advice of Narad Muni, to actually go for pure devotional service. So this point does not hold, and later Dhruv Maharaj accepts that. Yeah. Now, some of the examples. Now, biggest thing is, like we already discussed few points. Like Dhruva was the perfect example of Tivrana Bhakti Yoga. Another point we will discuss about the Lord's magnanimity, right? So even though Dhruv Maharaj is, highly, he was like, he did not forgo, he did not forget the insults by his stepmother, and basically he wanted to acquire the topmost, kingdom. So he retained these feelings, till the time he saw the Lord, right? But face to face. So two things we have to contemplate on this deeply, that how glorious or how special it is to see Lord face to face. That is so special that caused Dhruv Maharaj's lamentation in these section, in these passages, right? That is the big thing we have to contemplate, that everyone, whoever has had motivational, some material motivation in approaching Lord, as Krishna says, right, in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritano arjuna. They are sukritis, they are good. Krishna considers them all magnanimous souls. Of course, he says that Jnani is the topmost. Jnani means not the Nirakarvadi Jnani, but the personal who knows the science of Krishna perfectly, he is most dear to Krishna. Krishna says that, right? Udara sarva evate Jnani tu atmai me matam. I consider basically the Jnani who knows me personally, nicely, perfectly. I consider that person equal to myself. Equal means he is also on the pure platform, pure devotional service level. He is free from material modes and all that. So anyway, so Krishna calls, basically he terms all these four varieties of people who approach him as Sukritana Arjuna, like Udara, and they are magnanimous, Udara, Sarvevate. That is there. Now, Krishna doesn't say that, this Artharthi is bad, his wretched soul and all that. Krishna doesn't say that. He says, Udara Sarva Evaite. Why? Because they have approached Krishna. So here comes the point, and the point emerges that Krishna is called absolute personality of Godhead. In Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto's introduction actually is a quite, like around 50 page or so. It's a voluminous part, and it has cream of entire Srimad Bhagavatam philosophy, right? So there, Srila Prabhupada uses the word, phrase, the absolute personality of Godhead. Generally, supreme personality of Godhead, but absolute personality of Godhead is also there. So that actually, if we connect that phrase to several sections in Srimad Bhagavatam, we will understand how Krishna is absolute in nature. Absolute means here one of the understanding is that with whatever feeling one connects to Krishna, whether it be enmity, whether it be lust, whether it be anger, whether it be affection, the result is same, that the worshipper or the person who is absorbed in thought of Krishna, he or she will be fully purified in consciousness and attain pure devotional service, attain Krishna, actually attain Krishna. That is the big thing, with whatever. But the point is, one's mind and heart has to be absorbed in that feeling, right? And of course, Narad Muni recommends, and our Goswamis recommend that we should think of Krishna in a positive way, not enemical, because those are chosen by Krishna, like who will act like Lord Vishnu, that who has the capacity to fight him, like Jai Vijay, right? That's a different thing. So in the positive like flow, bhakti means basically thinking Krishna positively, like thinking about Krishna, all like in different relations. We have to think about Krishna in a positive mood, right? So Narad Muni says in the basically 7th canto, 1st chapter, right? Kamadvesad bhayat snehat yatha bhakteshware mana, right? Aveshya tad aghang hitva bahvas tad gatim gata. Aveshya, that avesh, essentially avesh means, if you translate to English, roughly it will be surcharged. Something is surcharged with that thing. So essentially, if we are fully surcharged, our mind and heart is surcharged with the feeling of, or feeling of some, some particular mellow with Krishna, then we will actually be fully purified. But the thing is, we do, practically, like some devotees or some sadhakas or progressive sadhakas, they are actually not 24 hours engaged in devotional service. So we do the minimum, level of Krishna Bhakti, that 16 rounds, and then attending an arti or two, some kirtan, then weekly Sunday attending the Bhagavatam class in the temple and all that. So this is sort of minimum, actually. Prabhupada disciples have told that what majority of devotees or many devotees are doing is the just bare minimum, So that may not translate to Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, it definitely does not translate to that. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. And Avesh, the surcharge is also, like to some degree it is there, to some degree it's not there. Like it's a partial, But yeah, we are doing the minimum recommended by our respective spiritual master in Srila Prabhupada, that minimum 16 rounds of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So minimum, like I am also, I have to progress a lot, be much more absorbed. So that is one aspect. But now coming back to, Lord's magnanimity and the benefit or the power of having Lord's audience or seeing Lord personally, so that is one thing. Whoever sees the Lord, whoever meets the Lord personally, they all are free of any desire. They become free of any desire to remain in this world or enjoy matter, right? Several such occasions are there. Yamunachari, like he also mentions about that since that time I have started relishing different mellows of your devotional service. Now I don't, I actually despise material enjoyment, so like that. So that is the, we can think in other way. If we like some, some material comfort or some, some sense object right now, and if we consider that whoever meets Krishna or sees Krishna, Lord Vishnu, any form of Lord, so they are completely averse to material enjoyment. So we can, from this, we can contemplate, or we can at least try to contemplate how much more blissful it must have been to see Krishna or to see Lord in any form. That is what we have to contemplate. How sweet it is, how special it is that the soul is fully satisfied finally. Fully satisfied, not only satisfied, but the bliss actually keeps on increasing, right? Anandambodhi Vardhanam. So it increases. It does not remain stagnant, and it does not taper off. It does not wane over the time. That is what we have to contemplate. So this contemplation will also give us good impetus anyway. So now another thing, the second aspect of Lord's personal magnanimity. So it is said that if one is performing pure devotional service, only that pleases Krishna, right? Motivated devotional service, yes, Krishna considers them as Udara, like magnanimous souls, but that does not please Lord most, right? So let's actually go to Dhruv Maharaj's last prayer, last sloka, right? That is 17th verse. Yeah. Satyaseso hi bhagavans tava pad padmam asis tathanu bhajata purusharth murte api evam arya bhagavan paripati dinan vasreva vatsakam anugraha katarosma. This is like showing how magnanimous is Lord, right? Lord Vishnu or any form, right? See here. Yeah. This is the benediction of worshipping your lotus feet. To ignorant devotees like me, you are the causelessly merciful maintainer. So even for ignorant devotees like me, Dhruv Maharaj is saying, it's a very big point actually. Just like a cow who takes care of the newly born calf by supplying milk and giving it protection from attack. Yeah. So Vasrev, this Vasra, no, this is not any cow. It is like a cow who has just given birth to a calf, right? So that cow at that moment, or in that phase, the cow is extremely attached to its calf. Okay, extremely attached, like topmost affection and sense of fear that protect my child, my calf from all possible attacks. Even human beings, if they casually approach the calf at that moment, the cow becomes angry. What to speak of dogs and other street animals. So here the point I wanted to share was here, yeah. Pure devotional service is without material form and is not covered by mental speculation. We know that, right? Yeah. Gyan Karmadi Anavritam, yeah. Pure devotional service is therefore called Ahetuki. Fine. Guru Maharaj knew that he had come to worship the Lord in devotional service with a motive to get kingdom of his father. Such an adulterated devotee can never see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. See, unless it is like a pure devotional service, one cannot see Krishna face to face. But so next, let's say, he therefore felt very grateful for the causeless mercy of the Lord, because Lord does not give audience to someone who is not performing pure devotional service. But Lord still appeared in front of Dhruva and he gave his darsana and benediction to Dhruva. That's why Dhruva is feeling that Lord actually gave extra mercy to Dhruv, even though he was performing motivated devotional service. The Lord is so merciful that not only does he fulfill the desires of a devotee who is driven by ignorance and desires for material benefit, but he also gives such a devotee all protection, just as a cow gives milk to a newly born calf. Yeah. So this is the central important point, like about Lord's magnanimity. I wanted to share here that Lord actually, many times we hear the word Bhagavan Bhakta Vatsala, Bhagavan Bhritya Vatsala. That is also there. Bhakta Vatsala, that Bhakt means pure devotional service. Yeah, Bhritya Vatsala, all servant. They are also pure devotees of the Lord. But here, Lord goes extra step and he actually gives audience to Dhruva, who was performing motivated devotional service. That is Lord's magnanimity. Otherwise, standard is that Lord gives audience to pure devotee, right? But Lord gave darshan to Dhruva, who was not performing pure devotional service at that moment. Later, of course, he became pure devotee, because there are several ways we can verify that. But yeah, point is Dhruva became pure, but yeah, Lord gave him the audience. So this is Lord's special magnanimity. So we also have a hope if we are not free from material desires right now, but if we strictly and most sincerely follow our, Prabhupada's instructions, Srila Prabhupada's instructions, and our respective spiritual masters, who of course follow Srila Prabhupada with whole heart, right? So if we are very sincere in executing our devotional service, we also have a hope, even if we are not fully purified, by the end of, our life. That is like a big hope. Not that we should, consciously try to remain in this mode. That's not the point. But the point is, despite our best, effort, if we are still not free from the modes of nature, if we still have some tinge of material desire, despite our best effort, even then, basically, there is a hope that, Lord will reciprocate. He will be merciful to us, provided, again, same thing, provided we strictly follow our spiritual master, our guru's instructions in the matter of devotional service, do's and don'ts, essentially, right? So Krishna sees in the as a Paramatma, he sees our, sincerity, how much sincere we are to, how much we are sincere in trying to reach him, in pleasing him. So Krishna sees that. It's not that Krishna wants everyone to become brahmachari. That is never actually Krishna has not said that everyone must become brahmachari, then only they will be able to please me. It depends on it depends on so many factors. It's a person to person. We cannot also say that no one should be brahmachari. That is also not the point. The point is simply basically remaining attached to Krishna's devotional service, especially chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and hearing Krishna Katha from pure devotees, or reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Srila Prabhupada other books, right? Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So hearing Krishna Katha and chanting and taking prasad, these are like and serving devotees, of course, in association of devotees. These are like the fundamental pillars of progress in devotional life. Yeah. So if we do that sincerely, that is actually enough. If we please our respective guru by our devotional service, that is the secret of success, as Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in several places. Even if we are not eligible, but if we are sincere, eligible means even if we are fully not purified, even then, if we are sincere, there is a hope. That's the whole central point. Actually, I'm driving today. Apart from the first point, that demigods were not really actually affecting Dhruv at that moment, when he said that his intelligence was polluted, and that's why he could not pay heed to the advice of Narad Muni, and that's not true. That we already discussed. So these two are the central points, that our mind is affected. We are under particular combination of mode of nature because of our own karma. So it's not that Paramatma is sadistic or demigods are sadistic. No, it is we are forced to undergo the reactions of our own karma. That is one thing. Demigods would not have, they would have rather, put obstacles on the path of Dhruv, if like for his stated purpose that he wants higher kingdom. And finally, Lord's magnanimity, two parts. One is that seeing the Lord, when someone sees the Lord, then they understand this is the highest bliss for the soul, right? And it supersedes all other so-called sensual pleasures and everything, right? And another is Lord went one step ahead, and despite Dhruva's motivated, devotional service, he still gave him audience, and Dhruva became pure, and he actually glorified Lord in 12 verses. These 12 verses are called the 12 suns. 12 Aditya hai. Like that, that's what like Acharyas say. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in second canto itself, unless one is later also throughout Bhagavatam, unless one is a pure devotee, one cannot, authentically glorify the Lord, authentically cannot compose such glorifications. So Dhruva was pure, like after having Lord's darshan, that's why he's lamenting his motivated devotional service. Anyway, and finally, Lord, Bhagwan Bhakta Vatsala, Bhagwan Bhritya Vatsala. Okay, there is one minor thing which again I wanted to share. Last thing, Bhagwan is not only Bhritya Vatsala and Bhakta Vatsala. Let's see Lord's magnanimity further. Yeah. Okay, not this one. त्रस्तोस्म्यहं कृपणवत्सलदुःसहोग्र संसारचक्रकदनादग्रसतां प्रणीतः बद्धः स्वकर्मभिरुषत्तमते अङ्घ्रिमूलं प्रीतोपवर्गशरणं वैसे कदा नु. The word I want to highlight is this, Kripanavatsala. So Bhagavan is not only Bhaktavatsala and Bhrityavatsala, Bhagavan is Kripalavatsala. Who is saying? Prahlad Maharaj is saying, who is Bhakta Swaromani, right? He says, "Oh my Lord, who are so kind to the fallen souls, who have no spiritual knowledge." So Lord is kind to even Kripana, right? That is Lord's magnanimity. Bhaktavatsala, Bhrityavatsala is natural, even for any normal great souls, like even common great souls, whoever is affectionate to them, of course they will be positively disposed towards that person. But Lord is Kripanavatsala. This is the glory of Lord. No human being a normal person can claim to be like this. Only a pure devotee or Lord himself, they can exhibit this symptom. Bhagavan Bhaktavatsala, Bhagavan Bhrityavatsala, finally Bhagavan Kripanavatsala. This is like amazing thing. Yeah. There is one more thing about this analogy, like the points like today's verse, that when a guru is like compared, so Naraji's verse, Naraji example is also shown that Prahlad says that following others, basically, other karmis, I was also about to fall into the cycle of birth and death, but Narad Muni immediately, my guru, he somehow immediately grabbed. By the time I could fall, he grabbed me. Of course, he says out of humility. He was a great personality. But of course, Naradji had the purifying effect on Prahlad when he was in the womb of his mother. Like speaking so much Krishna Katha. Personally, Naradji and Naradji's other friend, like different sages, right? So for tens of thousands of years, Prahlad Maharaj kept on listening to Krishna Katha, Hari Katha, and that is the reason he became, a Bhakta Sravani, just by hearing for prolonged time, right? Yeah, so he became topmost devotee. Prahlad is the Bhakta Sharomani, right? Of course, Pandavas, some Yadus, Uddhava and Gopis are superior. That's a different thing. But generally, like Prahlad is considered the topmost devotee. So, see here, my dear Lord, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narad Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave this service, right? A very sweet rhyme. Actually, we don't have much time to recite so many slokas, but evang janang nipatitang prahvahi kope. The point is, Prahlad actually accepted whatever the great sages told him, they don't do motivated devotional service. So Prahlad, that's why Prahlad is called Bhakta Shromani. Dhruv Maharaj's position is also very, very, elevated position. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, used to discuss or read this sections of Srimad Bhagavatam. Dhruva's incident and Prahlad's pastimes, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit, they used to repeat again and again these two things apart from others, at Tota Gopinath temple in the afternoon, almost every day. Like every day afternoon, he would dedicate this time on discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, releasing Srimad Bhagavatam, and especially these two topics among the devotees, like Dhruva and Prahlad. Yeah. So Dhruv is also no ordinary devotee, extraordinary, He achieved that place, where Lord personally resides, and he went, with the whole body. So that body was spiritualized, right? So that's the power of Dhruva. And all other planets in the universe, they circumambulate Dhruva. So Dhruva, that planet is the fulcrum. Anyway, so Dhruva Maharaj is glorious, no less glorious, because he very sincerely he followed, his guru's spiritual master's instructions. So these are the 3-4 points I wanted to convey today. So I will stop here. Nothing further to add from my side. If there is any question, comment, or correction, I am ready to take that. Okay, looks like we don't have any question, comments, so we will stop here. ग्रंथा श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.
Prabhuji,
Oh, yes. Yes. Any question you can ask? Okay, looks like you're not audible actually. If you're asking something. Okay, we'll stop here. ग्रंथा श्रीमद्